You're listening to The Ride to Work with Pastor Fred. Fuel for your faith before you clock in. Enjoy the ride.
Hello, and how is everybody out there? Thank you so much for joining us for The Ride to Work. Look, we're right smack dab in the middle of it. It's Wednesday, y'all, and we are dredging our way, should I say, through the sacrifice of sacredness week. Man, it has been interesting. You know, when I finish doing each episode and now go and I look over some things for the next one, and man, this thing hits because it made me start looking and seeing, you know, have I ever been performance minded? Have I ever maybe done some things that could be misconstrued or, you know, perceived as performance? Because I always try to pride myself on being natural and being authentic, even in my imperfections. I never wanted to halt myself over anybody, knowing certain things, you know, that have happened in my life, that have gone on in my life, to where so I'm saying I'm not sitting here and speaking in judgment of anything or any preacher, leader, church, ministry, whatever. That's not what this is about. It's just a call. I'm just sending a call out to get back to reverence, to get back to God, and, you know, as far as the sacredness of church and ministry and teaching and preaching and leading. That's what this is about. We all have had our issues, but it's just a call that I'm just putting out. And please share with others. Please, it's just something that, and I'm looking to do something coming up this year. Me and my sister-in-law, basically she's one of my pastoral assistants, has been for a long time. But we were discussing having a gathering, a meeting, pretty much I don't want to really call it a conference, but it was just a back to God gathering. And we're going to get some leaders to come to the table, and we're going to discuss, you know, what has happened, what has gone wrong, and how can we get back to having this, the true trust in the church, in the leaders, as far as for people to come and get the help that they need as far as in transformations of their lives. And we're going to have this concert. We're talking about this concert where, you know, I remember growing up, it was choirs. I mean, I'm not knocking praise teams or anything like that, but I remember we were going to have this concert, and it was going to be nothing but choirs, just choir after choir to come. You know how I used to do back in the day, come give us 2 selections and all of that. It was just something that is the vision right now, that wants to be put in place for this upcoming season, for this year. And we're gonna do it. And I mean, I think it's just needed. Whether it's just for me, I mean, I just want to feel that, like the old folks say, that old time religion again. That I just, man, that we used to have some church up there at First Baptist of Progress Village back in the day with B.T. Williams and then Reverend Roosevelt Robinson. And man, we used to have some church back in the day with the choirs and the youth choir. And I can go on and on and on. But anyway, let's get into this. Because this is I wanted to say that because, like I said, I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about any pastor, preacher. I may not know who your pastor is or whatever. So don't be talking about, man, this guy was on here talking. No, that's not what I'm doing. It's just a call back to reverence. That's it. But today we want to talk about when leaders become celebrities. When leaders become celebrities. Because, I mean, what happens when a shepherd starts needing fans more than souls? What happens? Because fame and faith, they don't always mix well. They don't. What happens? And see, the issue is, it's not, the issue isn't visibility. The issue is identity. That's what the issue is, because some leaders, they no longer see themselves as servants. They'll say it, but they don't longer see themselves as servants. They see themselves as quote unquote brands. Mm? There's that word, brands, and branding becomes very dangerous. Becomes very dangerous when protecting the image becomes more important than protecting the people. If you're a shepherd, you're supposed to protect the sheep. Becomes very dangerous when you just want to protect your image more so than the people. Because people matter to God. They matter. And people are sacred to God. I need you to hear me this morning, because when leaders become celebrity, look, celebrity culture is entered the church. It has. I mean, God, just look around, man. Look online. And now the pastors are getting video just coming to church. They're getting video getting out Bentleys. Why we need to see that? Why? Why you need a whole like Martin Scorsese movie clip of you coming to church or you coming to preach somewhere? It's amazing to me as far as how far we have gone into celebrity status that we just want to be seen. How? I don't understand. Why do we need to see that? You just coming to church and you got a whole movie clip about you coming to church. It's entered the church. I mean, you got congregations now. What they idolize preachers. They idolize them instead of pursuing God. They're idolizing the preacher or the pastor. And I get it. Look, I used to say this as far as don't put me on a pedestal. Don't put me on a pedestal, because I'm sorry. Not that it would be intentional or anything, but I may let you down. Don't put me on a pedestal. You pursue God. You look to God. Come on. I mean, let's be serious. I mean, we got these celebrity preachers. They know the preachers' catchphrases. They know the catchphrases, but they don't know scripture. I ain't talking about nobody. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. They know all of that, but they know what way the preacher stay. They know what he got, what kind of car, what kind of house, all this stuff, but they don't know scripture. They know his fashion labels, but they ain't got no wisdom. And the thing that makes me I got to be careful of what I say. But not really, because it's not in my heart to say anything of malicious intent with malicious intent. The thing that gets me is how the followers will defend leaders more than they defend truth. That's a problem. Because it makes it feel like or seem like the leader, he's become untouchable, and accountability is just null and void. It disappears. But do you understand that's where corruption grows? That's where it grows. And I'm not just talking about financial corruption. I'm talking about spiritual corruption, emotional corruption, moral corruption. That's where it grows. Because once you start isolating people like that and putting people on these certain pedestals, that feeds the ego. That feeds the ego, and you need the ego to just go. But when you begin to separate people like that and place them in these high mindedness, and it just feeds the ego. And you got a lot of leaders, they're surrounded by people who clap for them but never correct them. Never correct them. My God. I thank God for how I grew up and as a young preacher. As a young preacher, when I accepted my calling, I was corrected many times to where I knew as far as how to be accountable in certain areas in my life. And if I wasn't right, I felt like I felt it. I don't know if you can understand that, but I knew, no, you ain't right, dude. You're not right. Because isolation feeds ego. Because you have so many people pouring into you, pouring unto you, doing for you, doing this, doing that. If you don't have an humble mindset, I can see how your ego, it gets inflated. But look, real leaders, you're not supposed to be worshipped. You're supposed to be responsible. Responsible. You can't crave influence more than integrity. You're supposed to be responsible. Because what happens while we're talking, what happens? Eventually that pressure to maintain that quote unquote celebrity status, it pushes you to say and do some of the most outrageous things, behave in some of the most outrageous ways just to stay relevant. And the saddest part about it, and I'm done, a lot of people leave church blaming God. They're wounded and they're leaving church blaming God. When really it was just unhealthy leadership. That was the real issue. You didn't have good leadership. That is the damage. That is the damage. Broken trust creates spiritual confusion. I'm going to say that one more time. Broken trust creates spiritual confusion. And a platform can make someone visible without ever making them mature. Just because they were put in that spot don't make them grown. Don't make them mature in the word, in the spirit. It doesn't make them mature. A true shepherd feeds sheep. A celebrity needs fans. There is a difference. Thank you for joining us for the Ride to Work this morning. We'll be riding again. God bless you.